This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Donkey Skin, the 1970 musical fantasy film from French director Jacques Demy. It's a literal fairy tale that follows the strange but romantic events which befall the princess of... they never name the kingdom, actually. Anyways, when the queen dies, the king promises never to remarry until he can find someone whose beauty matched hers. Despite several potential suitors, he finds that only his daughter, the princess, is worthy of the throne. Confused and scared, she speaks with her fairy godmother, who devises a plan to disguise her. Wearing the skin of a donkey, the princess escapes to a neighboring kingdom and lives there as a scullery maid, enjoying the luxuries of her previous life in private until the prince of that kingdom spies upon her, falling madly in love. The rest is, well, it's a fairy tale, so you can probably guess how this ends. Unlike Demy's previous films at this point, the movie is pure fantasy, rather than his usual style of presenting fantasy through realism. The sets and locations are medieval and extravagant, the story is pretty nonsensical at times, and the characters are also underdeveloped and quick to jump to romantic conclusions. But it's all presented with such fun that it's easier to get lost in this world than try to overanalyze it. That said, it does still have some satirical elements and a bit of commentary, mostly through its visuals and general tone, but for most of the film everything is played straight. There actually isn't too much that I feel can be said about the story because of how closely it sticks to fairy tale conventions. Arguably speaking, the only thing that separates it from the general idea of a fairy tale movie for younger audiences is its subject matter. And even then, this movie is an adaptation, so I guess some kids out there grew up with a lot of issues. Anyways, the bulk of the production's attention seems to be in cementing the art design and its replication of children's storybooks. Most of all in the bold and saturated color palettes. It makes the human elements of each scene stand out, not only in the surreal color coding of the two kingdoms and their background characters, but between the natural surroundings and the high luxury of those within a scene, which is mostly to say that the costuming of characters is as grandiose as the castles they live within. Some even make use of special optical effects to further sell the magical side of the story, which is an aspect of this world that's almost prominent in every scene, whether tonally or subtly used within the visual presence of a scene, or explicitly through editing choices that heighten the artifice of the film medium to its most imaginative potential, which is just a fancy way of saying that it uses a lot of jump cuts, slow motion, and reverses the film at time as well. They're simple effects, but they're presented with an earnestness, as if it were happening live within the scene as it was being shot. Most of all, the effects work doesn't ever try to be a spectacle in itself, doing more for the story and characters than simply showing off. It's fun, it's fantasy, and it's effectively an extension of the kind of film which Demy has been trying to make, but apparently didn't want to commit to making until now. I don't know. Donkey Skin, Jacques Demy, 1970. 4.5 stars. I definitely recommend giving it a watch. That's it for me. If you like this review, leave a like. If you have something to add, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. Really, this is the kind of movie that's hard to talk about but clear enough to understand if you see it. Mostly because it trades its story for its aesthetic, in my opinion.